thepascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal.
What's up? Bryan Kohberger, as I like to call him, Coco, has gotten the biggest denial ever, and it looks like this trial is going to be a very tough one for Bryan Kohberger, okay? And this all revolves around the situation of the tragedy of the Idaho 4, the 4 students that lost their lives just a few years back in November. It is a very tragic story, tragic case. And of course, there's a huge trial that looks like is going to be happening in August, and we have got to talk about it. One thing is for sure, his team had the audacity to try to sit here and say, oh, well, there's 4 other people that could have been there as well. They really did pull that out. And I get the move. I get well, they would believe it would be like a chess move, but the judge doesn't think it as a chess move. But they try to make a move, and rightfully so. That's within their rights to ask those questions and bring those theories out. But again, those theories, according to the judge, have no merit. They have no weight. And he's sitting there going, we got to keep it moving. We got to keep the ball rolling. So those things cannot be brought in. And no, we are not going to delay this trial just so we can dive into your theory of 4 other guys or 4 other people possibly being involved in the unaliving of these 4 Idaho students, okay, University of Idaho students. So again, this is a very interesting, and it's telling me that this man, Bryan Kohberger, is cooked. He's absolutely cooked. Now, I know there's a lot of pro-burgers out there that believe that they got the wrong man. Well, they do have a lot of evidence and a lot of things pitted up against him in this trial. And you never know. Maybe his defense will be able to throw a curveball in there or something of that sort to throw in reasonable doubt for the jury. But I'm telling you right now, Coco is cooked, y'all. He is absolutely cooked. Let's take a look at this article. Again, this is very, very interesting. Bryan Kohberger's defense has to go back to the drawing board after the judge in his criminal case denied his legal team efforts to point the finger at 4 other suspects. Yeah, the judges, and I read the paperwork, the documents last night, and it basically is saying has no weight. What they're saying is, well, you know, and this is me paraphrasing, okay, but it's just a shot in the dark. It's a Hail Mary. Yeah. So Kohberger is gearing up for a trial this summer, so it's definitely going to be happening this summer, okay? After he was accused of unaliving 4 University of Idaho students, he was planning to argue someone else was the real monster. And I'm telling you right now, there could be other people there. There could have been other guys there, for sure. But Bryan Kohberger was there too. That is without question, at least in my book, okay? At least in my opinion, it's without question that this dude is the guy or is one of the guys, okay? So, but in legal docs obtained by the Daily Mail, the judge blocked Kohberger's defense team from presenting evidence to the jury alleging someone other than Coco could be the true unaliver, blasting their evidence as quote unquote wild speculation and entirely irrelevant. Do you understand? The judge is not playing, okay? The fact that the judge is basically saying, yo, wild speculation, okay, is crazy to me. Okay? I mean, oh, okay. Let's move on. And then entirely irrelevant, that says a lot to me too. All right. So Kohberger's life is on the line here, which I get it. He has to fight for his life. He's looking at the ultimate price right now, the DP. Okay. If he is found guilty of taking the life of Xana, Ethan, Kaylee, and Madison, I mean, those are some serious charges. That is a serious situation to look at. Right now, he is literally staring down the barrel. Okay. And if he's found guilty, yeah, he could be met with the firing squad. That's how he could get deleted off this planet, y'all. That's insane. All right. So the judge reportedly said there was no evidence connecting the people Kohberger claimed to be the unalivers to this crime scene. So it's unclear who Kohberger claimed could have been behind these tragedies. And it's now unlikely the public will ever know their identities, which is unfortunate because, of course, we would want to know because there could be a connection because it could have been a group effort. But at the same time, the judge, he's throwing all that stuff out. The judge also laid out the timeline for his upcoming trial. So jury selection is set for August 4th. And then August 18th, allegedly, is when it marks the beginning of the opening statements. And I'm telling you right now, this is going to be an absolute wild trial. It's going to be tragic. It's going to be absolutely sad. But I'm telling you right now, it is definitely going to be one to watch. I've been covering this particular case since the day it came out. We are still covering it. We will be watching that in August for sure. It is going to be an absolute wild one for sure because there's so much information that has been held, that's been, cut off from the general public that is going to be coming out here, that we're finally going to get more of a three-dimensional explanation to this case that we haven't heard yet. So it's going to be very crazy. But I'm telling you right now, all the evidence that they have on Bryan Kohberger points him as the monster that did this to those 4 kids. That's what I see so far. But like I said, that trial can paint a different story, sprinkle in a lot of reasonable doubt, etc. It depends on how his defense does. But the fact that they're throwing in these other names and trying to say that, his alibi was he was out there looking at the moon and the stars, and he likes to turn off the phone when he goes out for a walk in the middle of the night at the same time bracket that these tragedies happened is just weak sauce, in my personal opinion. And thank God the judge was smart enough to basically say, yeah, this is weak. This is irrelevant and wild allegations, right? It's taking us down a path that we shouldn't even be going on because his team is literally grasping at straws. But that's just my thoughts, right? So what say you? Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Hit that like button down below. Okay? Crush that subscribe button. And we'll be talking very soon. Okay? Time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.
Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.